Hello and welcome to the brightly lit table of reviewing justice. Now you remember some time ago I actually reviewed these earbuds from Philips. These were, I believe, the SHE3590 or something along those lines. I'll put the actual name as well as an annotation to the review on screen. Now, I sang praises of these guys because, well, they were extremely cheap and yet delivered really good sound quality. Of course, we're not talking about, studio or audiophile levels of good, just surprisingly good for its price point. So recently, I wanted to invest in something a little bit safer for the ear. Now, if you haven't heard already, this kind of earphones that basically just, sits in the outside of your ear is supposedly not that great for you because it doesn't provide isolation from background noise, and as a result, you've got to turn the volume up, and that in turn hurts your ears. So I was looking for something better to actually use when I'm traveling on a bus. And since I was reminded that I really liked that pair of Philips earbuds, I thought I'd invest in another item from the same brand. Now, this packaging is a little bit knackered because, well, they sealed it really tight and I, kinda opened it when I was just waiting at a bus stop to go home. Anyway, the item we have for review today is the SHE3590, and its selling point is the bass sound, apparently. Of course, it is a Philips product, and it comes in a packaging that looks like this. This is the price that I bought it for, $16.90 in Sing dollars, which I will, as usual, put a conversion on screen. So yeah, I've pretty much ripped this apart because, I was excited. But essentially, this is what came in the package. The earphones themselves are here. Well, we'll take a closer look at them later on. But of course, one point to note right now is the fact that, well, they have these little tips on them. And of course, these are supposed to provide somewhat better isolation against background noise, and so they are supposedly better. Also in the package, you have some additional nips at different sizes. So the ones that I have on the earphones themselves, oops, that's not the correct end. The tips on the actual earphones themselves are the medium-sized ones. So I'll just pull one out so we can compare. So yeah, we have them all laid out so you can compare them. These are the small ones, these are the medium ones, and these are the large ones. So yeah, these are the three sizes of the nips that they provide in the package. Apart from that, there's actually really nothing else except the earphones themselves. Of course, these earphones are the standard 3.5mm jack, so they'll fit in, basically any device. This has a 1.2 meter cord, and yeah, the earbuds themselves look like this. So let's also take this time to actually take a look at how these rubber nips slip on and slip off. If you've used earbuds like this before, this shouldn't be very new to you, but there is something pretty interesting about this pair of earbuds. So what I'm going to do is, this rubber tip here, I'm just going to pull it off like that. There you go. And well, the whole idea is there is a groove in the center here which fits over this piece, which protrudes. The interesting thing about this pair of earbuds is that the tip is actually long. I wasn't quite expecting this. I mean, compare that to the Sonic Gear ear pumps, which are just some earbuds I have lying around. These guys here are actually circular, whereas the Philips earbuds actually have that center bit that is actually, a slightly weird shape. So yeah, that is interesting, and something tells me that, there is a good reason for doing so. Since the rubber tips provided are actually circular, what I'm guessing is this gives it somewhat better grip. Of course, it does make it very difficult to actually pull in and push out. So, well, I guess there are advantages and disadvantages to having things work this way. But yeah, this is interesting, and I don't think it affects the sound too much, so at least it isn't a huge concern for us. So yeah, I guess all that's left to do is to actually talk a little bit about how they perform. Now here's some things that I didn't really like about these earphones. Now when I first got these, I actually had some trouble getting them to stay in my ear. The suction didn't feel, extremely strong, So after a while it seems like these tips actually slipped out of my ear. And I know it wasn't a sizing issue because I've tried all the nips I showed you earlier, and they either fit worse or had the same problem. Surprisingly, this might not be an issue of the nips. I mean, I had another pair of in-ear earbuds, and well, these fit very well in my ear, but when I actually transferred this nip to these Philips earbuds, the same thing actually happened. They don't stay very well. So I'm not actually very sure what the science is behind this or why this is happening, but yeah, that might be a small problem. Eventually I solved this problem by actually inserting this into my ear at a slight angle, so instead of just, going into your ear like this, I actually had to tilt it a little and sort of nudge it in like that. And doing that actually helps. Doing that will basically cause the earbud to stay. So yeah, interesting little issue, so to speak. I'm not sure if this is really a huge problem, so yeah. One final criticism I have is actually in the chords. So if we were to actually take a closer look at the part where, the earbud splits out, you can see that this chord is actually pretty thin. Let me compare this to the other pair we've actually reviewed previously. So here it is. This is actually slightly thicker, it actually feels better in the hand, but you can see once I put this side by side how much thinner the 3590 actually is. I feel a little bit less confident in handling it roughly. I mean, I haven't been very nice to my previous pair and it has still lasted for an extremely long time. In fact, I'm not replacing that old pair, I'm still using that old pair at home. I just don't want to use it outside, just in case, it really ruins my hearing. Let us now move on to take a look at some of the positive aspects of this set of earbuds, starting with the sound. Now, compared to the ear pumps which I showed you earlier, these are actually slightly less bassy. And this is not a bad thing, because as far as I understand, the ear pumps actually do emphasize the bass somewhat. What this means is these earphones are probably giving you close to original sound, which is always great. Once I got these tips to fit properly, the isolation was actually pretty good. Nothing to complain about. Also, based on my limited experience, it seems that these earbuds actually don't really suffer from the whole wind noise problem. The whole idea behind this being that if, say, you had this earbud in ear and you had wind blowing at it from a certain angle, you can actually hear a little bit of wind sound, a little bit of going in your ear. I hope that wasn't too loud. But yeah, these actually don't really suffer from that problem. You can still hear a little bit of it, but it is very much slighter than, I had to face with some other earbuds. So yeah, that is also a good point for this. So yeah, we've more or less identified two good things and two bad things about this pair of earphones, so it isn't as much of a glowing review as the previous pair, but well, this is my conclusion. For a pair of earphones provided at this price, this seems like a pretty good deal. The reproduction of the sound you hear seems to be very accurate. I mean, you don't hear any loss of bass, you don't hear any loss of trebles, you don't hear too much of anything as well. So yeah, for $16 or your equivalent price wherever you are in the world, this seems to be a pretty good deal. So yeah, if you're looking for, quality in the sense that you are hearing your original sound without any compromise, this actually does a pretty decent job. You've been watching a review of the SHE3590 by Philips. You're watching 0612 TV. Hello! If you enjoyed this video, don't forget I appreciate every like, favorite and comment you give me. If you'd like to see more from me in the future, don't forget to subscribe. For more updates outside of YouTube, do follow my official Twitter account at 0612 TV. And if you'd like to see more of my work, you can also check out my About Me page. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, you're watching 0612 TV.